Hello everyone, I'm Mazda and welcome to the f***ery that is my channel and my brain. So, seeing as this is the first video, I'm gonna tell you a little bit about myself. I am 22 years old, I am a media student. What else is there? My favourite word is intertwine. I heard it in a song, I liked it. It's been my favourite word since. And I'm not really used to talking to a camera like this, but yeah, so you'll have to excuse me if I'm just a bit ooh. Let's get on with it, I guess. So for today's video, I want to talk about representation, and more specifically, LGBTQ plus representation. And when I say that, I don't just mean cis, white, gay men and women. I mean the likes of black trans women, I mean Asian lesbians, non-binary folk, just anyone who's not the majority of cis white men and women, gay men and women. When I think of LGBTQ plus shows and films, I think of things such as Love, Simon, Handsome Devil, Loving Annabelle, Booksmart, Dating Amber, The 100, Grey's Anatomy, Schitt's Creek, Orange is the New Black, and Winona Earp. Just a few off the top of my head. Now, this isn't to say that these shows are not amazing, because Winona Earp is one of my favourite shows, and I'll touch base on why a little bit later. But you can see, other than Orange is the New Black, the cast is predominantly white. And you really lack that representation of people of colour being queer or being not cis. There's also queer baiting in more specifically TV shows. If you don't know what queer baiting is, this comic that I found on Pink News probably describes it best. And what it is when writers or showrunners hint at same-sex relationships but they're never explicitly confirmed, just very, very hinted. This subtext really draws in LGBTQ plus audiences because they're just wanting to get a glimpse of themselves on screen. But then they never confirm it and they never really address it. So they can bring in those audiences whilst also not facing the backlash of homophobes saying, oh, there's too many queer characters, why are you adding a gay character? Because it's real life. Like, people are gay. We want to see ourselves on TV. It's not too much to ask. There's such a big subtext of it that it really does draw in audiences. And it keeps them there as well because they're like, it's okay, it's clear that these characters are queer. The writers will have it in there somewhere, but then they just never do. Don't get me wrong, there is still some improvement to go, but it has definitely got better. And one of the better representations that I've seen on shows is through Winona Earp. And it's my favourite show for that reason. Winona Earp just so casually brings out LGBTQ characters. And it's not a big deal. As much as being queer is a big deal for someone, seeing it represented in a show where it's not a big deal is a big deal. Because it's showing that it's normal. Like, why do we need all this massive coming out thing? The main relationship in the show is between Waverly Earp and Nicole Hott, and they are two women-loving women who have such a realistic relationship on the show. Granted, the show is a supernatural and it's like, the show itself is amazing, but it's not realistic, it's not in our universe. But the relationship is just, it's so real. The couple fight, they make up, they make sure not to push each other to do anything that they're uncomfortable with. They are very vocal about consent being key. Even in a relationship, consent is key. And they really touch base on that, and I love it. And the characters themselves don't just exist with each other. They are their own individual people. Often queer relationships are seen as they exist together and they only exist together. But in Winona Earp, we see Waverly as Waverly and Nicole as Nicole, and we don't always see them as the ultimate couple. But you do get those moments of when you can see that they are the ultimate couple. But you see them as themselves as well. You see their flaws, you see their strengths. It's really showing that they are real people. And it's not just the characters that what makes them so lovable, it's the actresses behind them as well. Both actresses who play Waverly and Nicole, Dominique Provost-Chokli plays Waverly and Kat Burrell plays Nicole, they're both queer women as well. They've both come out within the last year as queer or just simply stating that they are attracted to the same sex. Now, queer actors playing queer characters is so important because they really truly understand what that character's going through. Now, I say it's important, but it's not necessary. Because when Dominique and Kat were cast, they both identified as straight. But they had then gone through this journey of self-discovery through Winona Earp to realise that they connect with their character more than they ever realised. Queer actors playing queer characters is good, but it's not necessary. On the other end of that, trans actors playing trans characters is a necessity. Because again, they will truly understand that the character's mind process, their thoughts, their feelings. They can truly connect and give an authentic portrayal of them. And you can have those young, closeted LGBTQ people seeing themselves on TV and seeing themselves in film. It's so important to make sure that these characters are authentic as possible and not just the flamboyant, white, cis, gay dude. Whilst there are people like that, it's been overplayed. I think gender identity is something that I'll touch on next week. And I'll leave the video at this. We must remember that LGBTQ is not just about sexualities, it's about gender too. I think it's often forgot that there is that T at the end, and there's also the spectrum of genders. You've got non-binary, you've got genderqueer, agender. There are more, I just can't think of them right now. But gender identity is just as important as your sexual identity, sexuality, yeah. But yeah, so I think I'll wrap up today's video there. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you like, comment and subscribe. Make sure you follow my other socials down below so you can tell me what you want me to talk about. I might do some Q&A so you can get to know me a little bit better. And yeah, and let me know your recommendations. I'd love to see what you guys find as comfort in LGBT characters, because who doesn't love watching new queer content? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week.